Alrighty, let's go. Welcome back into the Squishy Sport Podcast and the Redzone Report for Week 15, your NFL preview for the upcoming NFL games for the 15th week. Holy dooly, 4 more weeks of the regular season to go. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to start straight off the bat. We are coming in hot, baby. Hot. Coming off our best week of the year by far. We destroyed the NFL board last week in week 14, going 5-1 on our best bets. Can you believe the only loser was the goddamn Jets? I'm still actually kind of pissed off about it. Props, we went 5-1 as well. Jacoby Myers, our only loser from that one as well, who had literally like 30 yards in the first quarter and then had like 1 catch after that. So overall, 10-2 week, an absolute phenomenal week for the Redzone Report, which was just so good to see. Prop-wise, we're still going at such a solid clip over the last sort of 7 weeks. 74% we're going at over NFL props. If you haven't been getting these NFL props, what are you doing? Literally, what are you doing? But this episode, we're going to go through another 6 games through that absolute love on the NFL Week 15 board this week. Going through my rapid rundown, I cover the other 10 games on the board. We have no more buys. The buys are done for the season. 16 games left for Week 15, 16, 17, and 18. Giving you my slight lean, just not enough to get to the window. Going through my player props, got another 6 for ya. Let's have another 10-11-1. Let's have a sweep of a week, actually. Giving you my SuperCoach update. We've got 4 more weeks of SuperCoach. Honestly, I'm getting a bit over it myself. Just not being a good season on my part in SuperCoach. Just haven't really picked the right players from the get-go. And finding it just overall quite hard in all honesty. And then finish it off with our multi for the week and our Hail Mary. You got to think, shit, Squishy, where's your Survivor? Fuck Survivor. I'm over it. We had the Buccaneers last week. We already had one loser previously in the season, which was the Bills against the Patriots. And I gave you the Buccaneers against the Saints last week, and that lost as well. So dead twice this season, and that I've just got to cut myself out now. There's no point in me giving Survivor when I've had 2 lives and Gonski. See you later. RIP Squishy Sports in Survivor. All right, of course, if you like the content, you love what you see, make sure you give it a massive like and a subscribe to the channel. As I said, 4 more weeks of the regular season, plus your playoffs as well. I will be here for the playoffs as well to give you the Red Zone Report, of course. And if you are interested in other sports, make sure you check out the other podcasts I've done for the week. Starting my NRL season previews for each team, I had the Sea Eagles and the Raiders for this week come out. And then yesterday had the Global Sports Roundup, giving you my Women's Player of the Week, talking about cricket, talking about darts, talking about the golf, and talking about all your other American sports, your NBA, your NHL, and a bit of an NFL recap there as well. Make sure you follow all my socials, all at Squishy Sports, SKOOSHI Sports, X, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. It's all down in the YouTube link down below. Make sure you go check it out. But without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to skip the Thursday night football game. Just don't quite have a big enough lean in that Buccaneers or Falcons game. Honestly, Bucs are in a win-win situation. They're in a pretty treacherous run. I think they do have to win. Are they good enough to cover that 4.5 against a division rival who is seeking some same-season revenge? Yeah, I don't know. I think if there's one more game that Atlanta's going to get up for, I think it may be this one here. But I'm going to skip that one. We're going to skip to the Monday morning. So the NFL Sunday slate. We're going to start in the first slate here. And there are some great games this week. And I'm going to start off with one of the absolute not great games. NFC East game. And it's between the Washington Commanders at the New York Football Giants in New York, at Big Blue at MetLife Stadium. Giants are a 2-point favorite in this one, total of 47. Giants are a 2-point favorite. Can you believe it? It does look like I would probably say Marcus Mariota is going to go for Washington this week after Jaden Daniels copped yet another injury against Minnesota last week. If Jaden Daniels does go, It's a bigger bonus for this bet here. Commanders off a shutout loss against Minnesota. I absolutely love Washington this week against their division rival. To go 2-0 against them this season, they played each other in week 1. Washington had a big win against them there. I just think this Giants team is a big bunch of losers, in my opinion. What are they now? Sort of 2-11 on the season. They're looking like they've had all these leads and just keep crumbling them. How can you trust them now as a favorite to go out and win a game? Yes, they're off the bye. Yes, they've had rest. What are they playing for? I get it. It's a division rival. I get Washington's done for the season, but an absolute coaching not mishap, but just you got Dan Quinn against Mike Kafka. Come on, guys. Are we serious here? Washington all the way for me. Teams off a shutout loss this season so far. There's been 4 times. What's happened in the next games? 4-0 ATS against the spread there. Absolutely love Washington Commanders on the money line this week. Don't even need the +2. Just take Commanders on the money line. They will get the win against Big Blue this week. New York Giants will continue to be a losing team. Moving on to... got to shut your eyes for this one. But it is the Las Vegas Raiders at the Philadelphia Eagles. The Super Bowl champions have suffered 3 losses in a row. Holy dooly. Are they looking pretty bloody bad as well at the moment? They have the loss to Dallas on Thanksgiving. They've obviously just had the loss to the Chargers on Monday Night Football. And then I forget who they lost to the week before, but they have lost 3 in a row now. They were in actually trouble. If Dallas won last week against Detroit, they were in danger of potentially giving away this division, but I think they'll just be fine. They've got a somewhat easy schedule coming into this one here. They are now 11.5 point favorites in this one here against the Raiders. In the cold weather, total of just 38.5. And for me in this one, I get it. The Raiders are an absolute dumpster fire at the moment. They are an absolute dumpster fire. But for me, how can you look at this Philadelphia Eagles team and the way they've been playing, I think mostly all season, and they've just been getting away with it, mostly with their defense. Their offense has looked rubbish. The other loss was against Chicago. Just came to the top of my head. How can you look at this Philly offense and go they're going to score enough points to cover a double-digit spread? Their offense is so poor at the moment. I get this Raiders defense is not that great. Saquon may have a good game, but Eagles are just Hurts had 4 turnovers against the Chargers. He's looking rubbish. He's just not clicking with his receivers at the moment. The offensive line has got injuries at the moment. Landon Dickerson is out at the moment. I think Lane Johnson may be back this week. They're 0-3 since he's been injured as well. For Raiders, they're traveling east in the early slot. If there's one game they're going to get up for the rest of the season, it is after that Denver game. It is going to be the Super Bowl champions. I'm not asking them to go out and win this game. I'm just literally asking the Raiders to go and cover 11.5 in this one here. This is, for me, is a pure straight fade of actually the Philly Eagles at the moment, how bad they're playing. Could be a good get-right spot. I just don't see it that way. I think the Raiders can score at least 2 touchdowns, get 14 points. And then you're relying on Philly to score 24 plus, over 24, more than 3 touchdowns to go out and win this game. They just went out and kicked 4 field goals and a touchdown against the Chargers, and they look so bloody poor. They scored very similar against Chicago. They let slip a 21-0 lead against Dallas. This team is in all sorts for me at the moment. They should make the playoffs, but I think as soon as they do make the playoffs, see you later in the wild card. I think they'll cop an absolute spanking whoever they do end up playing. So, give me the Raiders plus 11.5. Commitment to excellence. Just cover, baby. Come on. Give it. If it's Kenny Pickett against his former team, give me the tiny hands plus 11.5. Just throw it to Brock Bowers, please. Just throw it to Brock Bowers. Cover the 11.5 in the cold and run out of there. All right. Moving on to the next bet on the Redzone Report, and that is a replay of the Thanksgiving game from 2 weeks ago in the AFC North. We got the Baltimore Ravens heading to the Cincinnati Bengals. Who day in the Monday morning slate. Ravens are a 2.5 point favorite. Total of 51 in this one here. 51, 51.5, depends where you are. 2 weeks ago, the Ravens were, I think, minus 6.5 in this one. So the movement does sort of make sense. But I'm not looking at a side in this one for me. I think the total was very similar to when they did play on Thanksgiving. It finished, at 32-14, so a total of 46 points. But for me, in that one, you had likely dropped the ball, literally, fumble the ball, half a yard before the goal line. Scores that, game goes over the total. They have 5 turnovers that game? 5 turnovers. Are we having a laugh here? Cincinnati defense had an absolute day out. You think the same thing is going to happen here? I don't think so. I think the Cincinnati offense will continue to do what they did last week against Buffalo and the week before against Ravens, putting up 30 plus. The Cincinnati defense is still not good. They still conceded 39 to Josh Allen and Buffalo last week. All the Ravens literally have to do is go out and score 20 plus in this game if you think that Cincinnati Bengals is going to score 30 plus. The Ravens can score 20 plus against the Cincinnati defense. I get it. They scored 14 2 weeks ago. I get it. They've looked horrible the last few weeks. Come on. It's the Cincinnati defense. It is awful. Lamar Jackson, they're in a must-win situation. I am expecting the best effort out of Baltimore this week. I am looking towards a total over 51 in this one here. Expecting a high-scoring affair, this one in Cincinnati. As I said, if Cincinnati can score their fair share of the points, I think Ravens should be able to do it as well. High total, you know what the saying, takes 2 to tango. I think the Ravens will be able to tango in this one here. They are in a must-win situation. Their defense is shot, so they have to score points in a shootout situation. And as I said, if I say it likely, do not fumble that ball before the goal line 2 weeks ago, this total would have gone over. They won't have 5 turnovers once again. Even if they have 2 turnovers, this game should go easily over, in my opinion. Love over 51 between the Ravens and the Bengals here in an AFC North matchup. All right, crossing over, fourth bet. We've got the Arizona Cardinals against the Houston Texans. And what I want to say, I should have said this at the start. I find this week pretty difficult, right? All the lines are really sort of correct now in the totals because it's literally taken 14 weeks of data to get to this point. The bookies know where the teams are at, that sort of thing. So once these lines actually open, they don't move from before the games on the previous week to the next week. And it's quite hard to find an edge in some of these. Some of these bets are going to be so gross, right? Some teams may have quit on the season. Some teams just don't deserve to be a big favorite, just like the Eagles, in my opinion. I think we've got a similar one here, where we go Arizona, Houston here. And that's Houston as a 9.5 point favorite with a total of 42.5. And I'm going to take this alt, right? Take a little bit more juice to take this up to a key number of 10 for Arizona. And I get it. They're coming off a massive spanking by the Rams last week. What was it? 45-17. But during the season, for the most of the season, they're losing efforts. They have been super close matches. Now, can you really trust Houston to go and blow out a team? I get it. They just went to Kansas City and beat them 20-10 on the road. Chiefs completely blew that game, in my opinion. Andy Reid made some diabolical coaching decisions. They completely blew it. Handed that game to the Texans on a platter for them. I think Arizona will be competitive in this one here. And I understand this Houston defense is nasty. Absolutely nasty, all right? But this Houston offense, it's not that great. It's not amazing. Can you rely on them to go score, 30 points to go cover this game? I can see this being a 24-17 kind of game, maybe 21-14. I do like Arizona in this game to get the cover of double digits. I just don't see a world where the Houston Texans, they're getting so much hype at the moment. They've got to be feeling pretty darn good about themselves after that primetime win on Sunday Night Football. The focus on getting to the playoffs, I get it, but now they've got an NFC opponent, which is the most meaningless game of their season. Arizona off a spanking last week. I get their season's done, but they keep competing, I think. They keep competing right to the end. They do have some really good junk time. Even if Houston is up by 13 at the end, I can still actually trust Jacoby Brissett to drive down the field in the last sort of 5 minutes and actually get it back to a cover. So do like Arizona plus the 10 points in this spot here. Come on, Jacoby. Give me some junk time here. Get me that cover. As I said, I'm not expecting, just like the Raiders, to go and win this game. Just cover, baby. Moving on to the second slate. Just got the one game in the second slate for me here. And what an absolute doozy of a game it is. One of the better games of the week, along with Bills and Patriots. That is the Detroit Lions heading to the Los Angeles Rams. Rams off a big win against Arizona, like we spoke about. Detroit off a big win against Dallas in primetime as well, putting out 44 points. Rams putting out 45 points, 89 points combined for these two offenses last week. Now they play each other. Rams are 5.5 to 6 point favorite, total of 55. Holy dooly. We spoke about 55 point total with Dallas and Detroit last week, and it was nowhere near high enough, landing on 74. I was on overs, over 48 with the Rams and the Cardinals last week. Easy over, 62 points in that game here. It's just not high enough, this total here, in my opinion. But going a tiny bit of a different route, and I was going to look at full game over touchdowns, over 6.5. I was potentially going to look at full game over 55. I think the Lions can put up some fair share of points in this one here. Similar to how I did with Dallas last week. I liked the underdog in that Dallas and Detroit game last week. I decided to take the Dallas team total. They didn't actually end up covering because of how bad their defense was, but they went over their team total. And Detroit, like last week, they're so banged up on defense at the moment. Still missing their number one corner, Terrion Arnold. Puka Nacua is going to have a field day, an absolute field day against this Detroit secondary. I don't want to rely on this Detroit defense here. I think Lions can score 24 in this one. Team total over 23.5. 3 touchdowns and a field goal in a high-scoring affair. Indoor stadium, weather does not have an impact. We know how much better Detroit plays in an indoor stadium as well. I do like Detroit Lions to go over 23.5 on their team total here. This game can finish 37-30. Doesn't bother me how many the Rams score. I think it's going to be an absolute shootout once again. Love Detroit Lions over 23.5 here. We know Dan Campbell is going to be super aggressive in this game here. He'll want to take out his former quarterback, or not really former quarterback because he never really was with him, but the former Lions quarterback, Matthew Stafford. These two teams have such good battles. I'm expecting a high-scoring affair. I'm just happy to take the one side there with their team total. Moving on to the last game for the Redzone Report here, and that is on Monday Night Football in freezing cold Pittsburgh. Literally is going to be minus 10 degrees Celsius at kickoff with wind temperature, and that is Miami Dolphins heading to Pittsburgh. Monday Night Football, Tuesday morning here. Steelers are a 3.5 point favorite here. A total of 42 in this one, 42.5. Has not really moved too much during the week. Seeing a tiny bit of under money, which I do agree with here. I faded this Miami team last week, right? In the cold, against the Jets in a game that I thought, they would really struggle in the cold, have no motivation. They ended up putting 34 against the Jets, right? Fair enough. But it ended up being 34-10. I get it, Jets had a rookie quarterback come in midway during the game. Not good for them. But now they've got to go literally to freezing cold conditions in this one here. This Steelers offense had an absolute day out last week against the Ravens defense, who is absolutely shot at the moment. Are they really going to try and move the ball in minus 10 degree weather? I don't really see it. It's going to be absolutely freezing. I'm not sure if it's snowing or not. It's just going to be so cold. Can you really trust old man Rodgers to throw it downfield and get this total to go over 42.5? Can you trust a Miami team that's used to playing in the heat to go over 42.5? I don't think so. Played the under I ended up playing the under as an extra bet with the Eagles and the Chargers a couple days ago. They ended up just going under. It was an under game all game. But I just don't see where the points really come from. I see Miami really struggling in offense. I see the Steelers struggling in offense. This has just got like sort of a field goal vibe all over it. Maybe like a 20 to 14 type of game, maybe 20 to 17. I think there'll be some field goals in this one here. I just don't see them getting to the red zone, throwing the deep ball, that sort of thing. Under 42.5 for Monday Night Football here. Miami Dolphins at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Give me 0 points. Less. Usually I say more, but I'm saying less this one here. Under 42.5 Steelers and Miami. All right. That will do it for the best bets for the Redzone Report. Looking like a 6-0 week, hopefully. Touch wood. Now we're going to go into our rapid rundown where I give you my other leans for the week, or maybe no leans for the week, for the other 10 games on the board. There are no buys, as I said, left for NFL regular season, which is so good. 16 games, absolutely loaded. We're going to start right at the top. Rapid rundown. Give you my leans as quick as I can, generally in under 2 and 3 minutes. 10 games. Let's go. Falcons at the Buccaneers, who are 4.5 point favorite. Total 44.5. As said, generally do not have a lean in this one here. Could go either way for me in this one. My Panthers at the Saints, who are 2.5 point dog. The Saints are total of 40.5. I've got to lead my Panthers here. Must-win situation. Same season revenge. They should get the win on the road there. Chargers at the Chiefs. 4.5 point favorite. Total of 41.5. Chiefs are looking dead. Chargers, bit fat and sassy maybe. Shorter week. Now heading east to the cold. How are they going to go? I do lean the Chargers, though, still to cover this number. Jets at the Jags. Jags are a 12.5 point favorite. Total of 41.5. I want no interest in this game whatsoever. I don't even know who's playing quarterback for the Jets. I just don't want any part of this game. Game of the week, Bills at the Patriots. It is a pick-em with a total of 49.5. I think I lean the Bills in this one here to split the games between them this season. Again, there's something about it, just not quite enough for me to get to the window. Patriots have a bye, playing really well. There's just something about it that's just not quite getting me there, but I do lean the Bills. Cleveland at Chicago, who are 7.5 point favorite, total of 39.5. I do lean the Browns in this one to cover the touchdown spread in this one. It's more just trusting Bears to blow out a good defense and cover a touchdown number. They've had really close games all season. Browns just to cover 7.5. I think they can. Packers at Denver, a cracking game as well. To a Denver, 2.5 point dog, total of 43.5. Do lean the under in this one here. Not going to be freezing cold, just high altitude, good defenses. I can see it's been low scoring. Titans at the 49ers, who are 12.5 point favorite, total of 43.5. I do lean the Titans on the team total, not trusting their defense at all. Just the Titans on the team total should be about 14.5 around there. Colts at Seattle, holy dooly, 13.5 point favorite, total of 42.5. Seattle or pass for me in this one. There is a potential Phillip Rivers, the 44-year-old, may line up at quarterback for the Colts. Hasn't played since 2020. If it's not Phillip Rivers, it's going to be rookie Riley Leonard. Heard of him? Not really have I either. Seattle or pass for me here. I think it's just going to be a similar situation to Minnesota at Seattle a couple of weeks ago with Max Brosma. And last game here, Sunday Night Football, it is the Vikings and the Cowboys, who are 5.5 point favorite, total of 47.5. No lean for me in that one there. Bit of an interesting one. Dallas off a short, mini bye. Could go overs. It could be anything. But yeah, no real lean for me in that one there. All right, moving swiftly along to the best segment of the week. And that is the player props. As I said, 5-1 last week, 74% in the last 7 weeks on these. We are destroying player props, and we're absolutely destroying it. I think we've had 1 or 2 losing weeks in there. The other weeks are like 4-2 or 5-1, destroying it at the moment, absolutely killing it. I've got another 6 here this week and 6 bangers as well. Got all the data together, done my research, and pulled out these 6 here. And you'll see some sort of repetitiveness with players that I have like previously. Hey, if it's not broken, don't try and fix it. Let's start with the first one. Jacoby Brissett, under 229.5 pass yards. Texans are still only allowing 2 quarterbacks this season to go over this number. That was Matthew Stafford in week 1. That was Josh Allen a few weeks ago, and that went over because of that bullshit lateral on 4th and 27. I'm going to keep riding it. I've won it with Daniel Jones 2 weeks ago, and I won it with Patrick Mahomes under last week as well. I'm going to keep riding that train. Brissett under 229.5 pass yards here. Same game for me here. Bit of a fade of the Arizona secondary, and that is Nico Collins over 73.5 receiving yards. He went way over this number last week, literally in like the first half, so easily. I played it last week against Kansas City. I loved it, and I love it again. I think he can absolutely torch this Arizona secondary. Love him to go over 73.5 receiving yards here. Jamar Chase against the Ravens. We know he absolutely loves playing the Ravens, and I took him against the Ravens 2 weeks ago as well. And guess what happened? He went over 100. Guess what we're going to do? We're going to go it again. 89.5? Are we kidding here? T. Higgins likely not be playing in this one here. Chase is going to be the main guy. Joe Burrow now in his 3rd game back at quarterback. He's just going to feed Jamar Chase all day long. Sunny weather, shootouts kind of game. How does he not go over this number? I think he goes well over 100 in this game here. Expect Jamar Chase to absolutely go gangbusters in this game here. Over 89.5 for Jamar Chase here. The next one here, we've got Drake May, one of the MVP favorites, over 231.5 passing yards here. He has gone well over this number in like the last sort of 6 games that he's played. Went over this number the last time he played the Bills early this season. I think they'll want to. I think they may be in a situation if they're behind, they're going to have to throw it. This Bills defense is not that great. Joe Burrow went over this number last week quite easily, even in the snow. And Drake May, it's only 231.5, and he's still wanting to try and win MVP, right? So why would they not try and give him the ball? Patriots have like the highest pass over expected rate as well in the league. So they are passing way more than like the league average and what they're expected to do. They're wanting to get in Drake May's hands. He wants the ball. He's throwing the ball. He's going over this number, 231.5 pass yards. 5th one here, and this is a fade of the Browns rush defense from last week. Tony Pollard went gangbusters. I picked one of the two. Hopefully I picked the right one. DeAndre Swift over 54.5 rush yards here. You look at how this Bears offense is playing on the run here. They're absolutely killing it on the ground. And this Browns rush defense is not been that great the last few weeks. Tony Pollard went for, 160 last week. Look, there's probably a good chance now that Kyle Monango goes gangbusters now, but I think DeAndre Swift, he's the main guy at the backfield here. Do like him to go over 54.5 rush yards. I do think Bears will do a lot of running on the ground in this game here. Could be a get-in, get-out kind of situation here. Brown's secondary is quite good. Do they trust Caleb with the ball? We'll see. We'll see. I do like DeAndre Swift over 54.5 rush yards though. And then the last one here, we went it last week and it cashed in the first half. Now you're giving us a pretty similar line here. I don't know why. RJ Harvey over 49.5 rush yards here. It was 42.5 last week from the Redzone Report, and it closed 52.5. Now you're giving us 49.5. I think this is a game where they just go run. They realize RJ Harvey has got the hot hand. He's running the ball really well. Do they want to trust Bo Nix with the ball passing this one to go out and win the game? I don't think so. Looking at all the running backs in like most of the season against Green Bay, they've gone well over this number as well. That includes like the Giants a couple weeks ago. That includes the Bears. Both Bears running backs last week. Plenty of running backs against Green Bay are going over this number. RJ Harvey over 49.5 rushing yards here to round out the prop segment for the Red Zone Report. All right, let's move on to a little bit of SuperCoach chat. I won't chat too much about it because this season has been a bit of a disaster in all honesty. Scored 484 last week, went up 300 spots, now sitting just outside the top 5K. Nowhere near where I want to be. Should be sitting around top 500 realistically. Like top 16% or something. Absolutely gross. Ended up boosting last week. Trading out Travion Henderson, Rome Odunze, and Jake Ferguson. Getting in James Cook, Brown, and we got Pitts in as well. Just trying to think who Brown was. It's not even coming to mind. Oh, sorry. I think it was AJ Brown. Excuse me. So we ended up boosting, getting Pitts in as well. Looking at the top 3 traded in players for the week, we've got Brock Bowers, Puka Nacua, and CMC. I own Puka Nacua and CMC at the moment. And trade outs is Tyler Warren, Trayvon Henderson, and then Mike Egbuka. For me, this week, I am looking to trade out Mike Egbuka, who's just kind of fallen off a cliff from how good his start was this season, and Kenneth Gainwell, who's made some decent cash. I am just looking to sort of downgrade that one to boost up my other positions. I'm getting Keaton Mitchell from the Ravens for a cheap price, and I'm getting in Nico Collins from the Texans. I think he'll have quite a big game against Arizona this week. So, with a few weeks left to go, I've got 4 trades and 1 boost left. Vice captains and captaincies this week. I'm vice captaining Bijan Robinson on Thursday Night Football there. Hopefully he has a big game. And just mainly captaining Josh Allen in this one here to have a big game against the Patriots. All right, moving on to our last segment of the week, and that is our 2 multis that we have for the week. So my multi for the week, always 5 legs, could be alt lines, just generally related around my best bets. Put them together. We have cashed 2 of these this season so far. One was at 47s, one was at 29s, and that was because Kansas City pushed. This one here pays $55 in this one here. 5 legs, absolutely love it. We've got the Commanders on the money line. We've got Jamar Chase to go 100 plus receiving yards. Drake May 250 plus pass yards. RJ Harvey 60 plus rush yards, and under 42.5 in the Miami and Steelers game. As said, this pays $55. $10 returns $550. Nice little kitty that would come in for a couple Christmas presents there. And to finish it off, our Hail Mary for the week. We have not won one of these this year, but I feel like it's coming. We kind of got close last week. JSN scored 1. He scored 2, and then Jacoby Myers had also scored 1. I was like, oh, maybe there's a chance this gets to Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams didn't end up scoring 1 anyway, so it didn't matter. But I'm keeping it super simple this week. I'm going to go 3 running backs, scored 2 plus touchdowns each. Pays really good odds as well. We've got Chase Brown from the Bengals, Chris Rodriguez from the Commanders, and RJ Harvey from the Denver Broncos. This pays $900. $10 returns a cool $9,000, baby. That would be a nice, lovely Christmas present there. Let's have a recap of the Red Zone Report here for Week 15. And starting off with our 6 best bets, we've got the Commanders on the money line, Raiders plus 11.5, over 51 in the Baltimore and Cincinnati Bengals game, Arizona Cardinals plus 10 on the alt line, Detroit Lions team total over 23.5, and under 42.5 between Miami Dolphins and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Our 6 player props for the week to continue hot is Jacoby Brissett under 229.5 pass yards, Nico Collins over 73.5 receiving yards, Jamar Chase over 89.5 receiving yards, Drake May over 231.5 pass yards, DeAndre Swift over 54.5 rush yards, and RJ Harvey over 49.5 rush yards there. 2 of each, 2 pass, 2 receiving, and 2 rush. Our multi for the week is Commanders on the money line, Jamar Chase to go over 100 receiving yards, Drake May 250 plus pass yards, RJ Harvey 60 plus rush yards. Under 42.5 in the Miami and Steelers game pays $55 to 1. $10 returns a cool $550. And to finish it off, our Hail Mary for the week, 3 guys to score 2 plus touchdowns each at really big odds. Chase Brown, Chris Rodriguez, and RJ Harvey. 3 running backs pays $900. $10 returns a cool $9,000, baby. Let's have a cracking Week 15. Let's continue the good form we are in. Thank you so much for watching the Red Zone Report, guys. Remember to hit the like button and a massive subscribe to the channel as well. Going to continue doing these over the Christmas and New Year break as well. Will not be missing a week, but thank you so much for watching, guys, and cheers.